You're watching Education for Health Professional Regulators of Ontario, colleges under the Regulated Health Professions Act. Richard Steinicke is a senior partner of Steinicke Mikura LeBlanc, and he practices exclusively in the area of professional regulation. Richard is the noted author of the Complete Guide to the Regulated Health Professions Act, which, because of its comprehensive nature, has been cited by courts and tribunals, even in cases dealing with non-health professions. Marshall Molesky is the past president of the Federation of Health Regulatory Colleges of Ontario, and he serves as Chief Executive Officer and Registrar of the Ontario College of Pharmacists. Join Marshall and Richard now as Marshall poses a number of important questions on behalf of those of us who want to know more about regulating healthcare practitioners in Ontario.
Richard, what is the role of college committees?
College committees, they make statutory decisions primarily, and those decisions are assigned to them by the code. For example, this committee conducts hearings on allegations referred to it by the ICRC as to whether or not there was professional misconduct or incompetence. And under the legislation, they have the exclusive jurisdiction to make those decisions within the college. Council's role is to provide support to the committees, for example, to appoint the members to serve on them and to give a reasonable budget, and to provide some sort of outcomes-based general oversight. Committees also might have a role in supporting council on policy making. That varies from college to college. And they would provide council with information, and they may be asked to analyze an issue on behalf of council. And so that's another possibility, or possible role of college committees.
What's the role of committee chairs?
Well, committee chairs has roles to facilitate the committee work. They would prepare the agenda along with staff. They would identify any policy issues that need to be addressed, and then they would actually chair the meetings. If there is to be a panel, they would appoint a panel, and they would help monitor the achievement of the committee's goals, and then be the spokesperson for the committee when they report to council on behalf of the committee.
How do committees interact with others? And I'm talking about both inside and outside of the college.
Well, generally, committees report to council, and they generally do not communicate directly with other committees within the college. In terms of external communications, a committee would only communicate with others outside of the college if it was within their statutory mandate. So, for example, if a complaint was being investigated, they might authorize the interview of a witness. But generally, committees don't consult with people external to the college on policy issues because that's dealt with through the council. And members of the committees must respect their duty of confidentiality when they are communicating with others outside of the college. And so for that reason, external communication by committees is usually done by staff on their behalf to reduce the chance of a miscommunication. In terms of communications with staff, the committees need to respect staff boundaries. So purely administrative decisions, they would deal directly with staff. So, when's the next meeting? What time does it start? I seem to be missing a document. That can be dealt with directly between a committee member and staff. When you're dealing with committee policy, the committee member would deal with the chair of the committee, for example, adding an item to the agenda. At no time do committees or their members supervise staff. For example, they wouldn't say, "Would you please give our work priority over the work of another committee that you're supporting?"
How does a committee chair interact with others?
Well, the chair is the spokesperson for the committee, for example, to council, and they need to ensure that what they communicate to council is the committee's decisions and policies and not the chair's views on the issue. The committee chair would also interact with staff on behalf of the committee. So, for example, if there was a policy issue that needed some research done, the chair would communicate that to the staff. If there's some conflicts within the committee or conflicts with committee members and staff, the chair would try to address those. And if there was a serious concern, for example, if staff was just not being as supportive as they could be, or there was a personality conflict with a committee member, then the committee chair would take that to the president, and if necessary, the president would take that to the registrar. In terms of adjudicative committees, like Discipline and Fitness to Practice Committee, there needs to be an additional layer of separation from staff so that the committees are not dealing directly with the staff that are involved in prosecuting the case before them, to avoid an appearance of bias. For that reason, colleges try to have a separate staff person support the adjudicative committees that are not involved in the investigation and prosecution. And this might be an exception to what we talked about earlier in terms of contacting the lawyer. Adjudicative committees have independent legal counsel, and so rather than going through the registrar to contact independent legal counsel, they will go through the committee staff support person to address that.
Thank you, Richie.